Hello, Rosalie Gilchrist coming to you from the 2016 Russell County Fair and Horse Show. Riding, rocking, and livestocking is the theme this year, and it seems like that it's very popular. We've got a big rocking horse at our booth we'll have to show you later on. And today is Veterans Day, and I am with...
I'm Charles Nunn Jr. I'm commander of the Russell County American Legion Post number 208, where you are at 1866 Pioneer Drive, just down from the high school. Our meetings are second Thursday every month at 6 p.m.
And where did you serve?
I served in the Navy. I was on board aircraft carrier Constellation, and we were stationed in the Persian Gulf. When Iran took the 400 hostages back in 1979 and 80, we went over to rescue.
Did you have time to make any friends in the foreign land?
Not on the land, no.
So, can you tell us about some of your memories? Good memories. Camaraderie.
A couple of memories that I have were, leaving Hawaii and Philippines. The rest of my time we spent on board the ship, keeping it running. I was a boiler tech.
So all those guys on the ship for how many months at a time before you make land?
Well, we were out at sea for over 4 months at one time. Normally when they're out on tour, ship West Coast ships are out for 9 months to 12 months, and they make port every couple of weeks. But situation demanded that we stay out, and we were out for 4 months on the ocean.
And this is inexperience speaking, but do you have to watch for submarines and that sort of thing while you're out there?
Not us, no. We watched aircraft and things above the water. Our subs, U.S. subs, patrolled with us and kept us appraised of any other subs that may be in the area. But it was their mission to keep beneath the sea clear, and our mission to keep above the sea clear.
And how many years did you serve?
I was in 2 years before I got injured.
I noticed when I was in Lebanon the other day, going down toward the government center, that you have a used flag drop. You want to tell the people about that and where it's located?
Okay, it's right there in the government center on the opposite side of the parking lot from the government building. And it is for worn, dirty, used flags. You can deposit them there, and the Boy Scouts pick them up once a month and dispose of them properly with dignity and respect.
And that's something that's good for the Boy Scouts to do. It teaches them to...
Teaches them respect for the flag, which, a lot of people just don't have anymore.
That's good. I know you have a new project coming up, the Red, White, and Blue.
Yes, we next spring we want to do a Blue Star Banner ceremony. A Blue Star Banner got its start in World War I and World War II. It's a white background with a red border around it, such as this, and a blue star in the center. And it signifies that during World War I and II, these banners were hung on the front doors or in the living room window, and it indicated that you had a family member that was in service overseas on duty. 2 blue stars meant you had 2 family members, 3 stars, 4 stars, and then there's Gold Star. Gold Star banner is for someone who was killed in action. And same with the Blue Star banner, you just hung it on your door, and the community would know that you had someone who had been killed in combat. Or a Blue Star would indicate that you have someone, a family member, who's overseas deployed in action.
And you want to reactivate that.
The Blue Star Banner ceremonies and the Blue Star Banner, but we need the public to, get in touch with us. Let us know if you have a family member or someone who's overseas in service. Our information is American Legion Post 208, 1866 Pioneer Drive in Lebanon, 24266. My name is Charles Nunn. You can address it to me. I'm the commander of the post, or you can address it to Susan Heller.
And spell your last name, Charles.
Last name is spelled N-U-N-N.
Do you have a website or an email address?
My email is charlnew, capital C-H-A-R-L, capital N-U, at AOL. And you can email me or send a letter. P.O. Box. Our mailing address is Box 1261, Lebanon, 24266.
Getting a little help from Susan there. That's good. She's
my other hand.
So the general public needs to get in touch with these people.
Let us know you have a family member in service, and we will set up a Blue Star banner ceremony where you will be presented with a Blue Star banner.
And are you going to present it?
Looking forward to do it around in the spring, next spring.
So don't procrastinate. Get on board now so they can tell how many count that they need to do.
Yes. Let us know, and we'll get back in touch with you when everything's arranged.
And I thank you and I honor you as a veteran.
Thank you. Proud to serve.
I'm Rosalie Gilchrist. We're at the Russell County Fair and Horse Show. It is Monday at the Russell County Fair, and it is Veterans Day. I have with me Susan Heller, and she is a veteran.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Heller. I'm from Lebanon, a member of the American Legion Post 208, and I would just like to talk today a little bit about women veterans and the part that they play in the military. The roles that the women play nowadays have changed a whole lot from over the years, and there's a lot more opportunities for the women. As American Legion member, we are open to veterans, women veterans, to join us. You do not have to have served in a war or seen combat or served overseas. As long as you served active duty a couple of days, you are eligible to join us. We are here to help the veterans and their families, and we would love to get some more women veterans into our organization, as well as wives of veterans for our auxiliary.
And how would they get in touch with you about joining this auxiliary?
You can contact us at the post at American Legion Post 208, P.O. Box 1261, Lebanon, Virginia, 24266. You can call and leave a message on the machine. It's 880-0014, or you can call me personally at my home, Suzanne Heller, at 276-889-0155, and I would be happy to meet with you and talk to you and let you know some of the services and stuff that's available for everybody.
You certainly are an outstanding person in our community. I see you out volunteering. I see you out helping people around, and it's good to have you with us, Susan.
We like to get out in the community. We're always looking for different projects to work on. We have manpower. We don't have a lot of money, but we have some money available. Get out and work on some community projects, help the schools or the churches. If there's something that we can do, we'd be happy for them to contact us. We have no way of knowing who needs what, and unfortunately they have to come to us, but we try to be as visible as possible so that you can get a hold of us.
Now the Veterans Wall, that I know that you were instrumental in getting started in Lebanon, still has bricks left to go in that, right?
Oh yes, as last I knew, there were about 400 names on the wall. There's space for 3,000 names, and I know that there are veterans out there, even ones serving right now, National Guard, Reserves, active duty. Anybody that has served is eligible, that has ties to Russell County, to purchase a nameplate to put on the Veterans Wall out in Lebanon behind a Wendy's.
And the nameplates cost?
$75.
Okay. And if I had a grandfather, say, that had served and was deceased, you could still put that name on the wall, right?
That is correct. Anybody that has a relative that has served, we have people on there from from the Revolutionary War, I believe, as far back as that. So any military service, and like I say again, you don't have to have served overseas or in a war. As long as you served in the military, you can put your name or your family member's name on that wall.
As long as they're from Russell County.
That is correct.
It's a very pretty Veterans Wall, and they've got all the flags grouped around it. I know on days that the wind's blowing and all the flags are blowing and the sky's blue, I enjoy sitting there just looking at it.
Well, we appreciate it, and the American Legion spent about almost 10 years getting it started and getting it going, and they're continually, the town of Lebanon has taken it over, and they are continually doing more and more and more with it. I think they are still planning to put in a waterfall and wrought iron fencing of some sort.
That'll make it very pretty, but thank you for your birthing efforts to get it going.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We spent a lot of effort on it.
Is that all you want to tell us today?
Yeah, I think so. Just contact us, please.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Okay, we're at the Russell County Fair. Let's see what we can get into next. In the commercial exhibit booth at the Russell County Fair, we have found the Boilermakers Local 214. My first question is, what is a Boilermaker?
It's a labor union. A labor union.
Let's get your chair a little closer to me. I won't bite you.
Okay.
Okay. And so explain to the general public, because, when I say Boilermaker, I thought, okay, they work in factory, they work welding, or so explain to the general public.
Yeah, they work welding, construction on, welding on like power plants, anything around. And then we've got can't think of the actual word for it, but part of the Boilermakers are in industrial, or, factories and stuff like that. And then we got part that's on the road in field, work and stuff. Unions just where the workers have a say, they can bargain for their benefits and pay and everything like that. And
So you don't have to work where you work to become a Boilermaker?
no,
What all kinds of jobs can you work and still be a Boilermaker?
any kind of job.
School teacher?
School teachers, nurses, anything like that can become a Boilermaker. In the union, it's a union is a group of workers forming together.
Unified.
Right. Coming together. They strengthen numbers, If something happens on your job that you got somebody to back you, a voice,
A grievance?
you can file a grievance and go through grievance procedures to get things taken care of. It ain't company's final say on everything.
So where are you guys from?
Lebanon, Virginia.
Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Jeff Woods.
I'm Newton Austin.
Hank Jackson.
Thanks for talking with us. Give us how to contact you.
Well, you can look up on the Boilermakers website. Just go to, on the internet and Google Boilermakers, and you can find anything you need there to contact. And if anybody was to want to get the union their workplace,
Another booth in the commercial exhibit building at the Russell County Fair. I'm Rosalie Gilchrist. You're watching ARC TV.
And I'm Kathy Shearer. I specialize in collecting local history. I interview people, get their stories, their memories of growing up in particular communities. And a year ago, I finished this book, Working for Stewarts, which is a history of the great Stewart Land and Cattle Company, which was once the largest farm east of the Mississippi. And it's been a farm business since 1868. The first steward who started the farming enterprise made his money in Saltville making salt during the Civil War. And then he decided he would change professions and get into the farming business. And obviously was very successful. And it's come down through the generations. It's still operated by a Stewart, Linda Stewart, the widow of Zan Stewart, is the general manager today. And part of it is history. The larger part of it is the oral histories that I collected from the people who lived on the farms, who grew up on the farms and worked on them, and what their lives were like. So different in the days of hand labor than today's work with using machinery. Was very fortunate to interview just a lot of those folks, and they've really responded well to the book. Prior to the Stewart project,
Let me ask you a couple
yeah,
questions. And you'll probably repeat this because they won't hear me.
okay.
My understanding is that Jeb Stewart, Civil War hero, is that same family, and his mother taught and Emory and Henry before they moved to Salt.
No. Well, Jeb Stewart was William Alexander Stewart's younger brother, so he comes from the same family. Their mother actually did not teach at Emory and Henry College. That's not true. They moved to, William Alexander moved to Saltville, and at different points in time he accommodated other members of his family, and there were some taught at a very small school in Saltville, which was like a one-room school. Right. Henry Stewart, his son, did attend Emory and Henry College. And one thing that's happened recently, which is really nice, and I hope other people will do this, one of the people who enjoyed the book so much was Jerry Peck Pruitt. And he was just delighted to see all these pictures and stories from the Clifton farm where he lived for many years as a young boy. And he started writing down his memories. And this is the result. He wrote 50 pages of notes about growing up on the Clifton farm, all of his relatives, people that he knew there, stories. And I was just so moved by this that when Linda Stewart sent me a copy of this, I typed them up, and we've now created this little booklet of his memories, which we do have on sale. It's just a small paper edition, but I'm hoping that other people will be inspired to do the same with their own memories as they read any of my books or other books. When they see something that reminds them of a story, please, it's really important for your families to hear this, to get your own histories. The other areas that I've worked in started out actually in the coal fields over in Dant, and this was my first book, Memories from Dant, The Life of a Coal Town, collecting again a lot of oral history, some of the documented history that you find in academic literature, but mostly it's the stories and pictures, a lot of photographs in all these books from these people's private collections. And from Dant, I went to Wilder, which was, they were both Clinchfield Coal Corporation towns here in Russell County, and then down to Cleveland, which was an old railroad town here in Russell County. So those are the major oral history books that I have written. And then there's one more book, which is my Tales from the Moonshine Trade. And I was fortunate to get people to trust me enough to talk about their time making moonshine, maybe with Dad or Granddad, also delivering it. And I talked to a few of the people who chased them, the ABC agents. So that book was a lot of fun. And that's not just Russell County, that's all the counties around here. The picture on the cover is actually from the Skeet Rock area in Dickinson County. And that picture was provided by Sherman Wallace. It's one of his family members on the cover at his still.
This lady beside me has on a t-shirt that says dogs make life better, and I have to agree with her because I have a teddy bear Pooch on, and you know, he's always glad to have you come home no matter how long you've been gone.
That's right.
And they just love on you, and they forgive you so easy, and dogs are a great therapy, which is what these dogs are, therapy dogs. Hi, I'm Rosalie Gilchrist, and you are?
Jane Toothman.
Jane, tell us a little bit about your therapy dogs.
Both of these dogs are certified by Therapy Dog International, a national organization. The older one is a Cavalier King Charles named Lady. She'll be 10 years old in October. The smaller one is a rescue from the Greenville, Tennessee shelter. And she was supposed to be a Cavalier mix. And they've both been certified. They both visit, they can visit nursing homes. They visit Johnston Memorial Hospital, Bristol Regional Hospital, and Niswonger Children's Hospital. We go over there once a month to visit the children.
I do court reporting as well as this is my sidekick, ARC-TV. So I was in a court system, and a child had need of comfort, and so they brought the dog in, therapy dog in with her, and she'd reach down and pet that dog, and then she'd continue to testify, and she'd reach down and pet the dog. So that was really a nice thing there. So they introduced them to the court system?
We did a program one time for the Department of Social Service for Washington County, and I think somebody from that system was in that audience, and we talked to them about it, and they were thinking about it then. So I was glad to see they went ahead and did that. Works the same in the hospital with staff. Occasionally we'll be asked to go back in, say, the intensive care unit, where normally you don't visit. Those patients are sicker patients. And I remember being asked one day, and we said, well, you know, we're really not supposed to go back there. And the lady said, well, I'm the head nurse and my staff need you. And so we walked back there. And the patients love it. It's been very well accepted.
Well, there's something soothing and comforting and calming about touching and just petting on a dog.
Well, and the other thing is, a patient doesn't have to talk to a dog. If you're a patient in a hospital and somebody walks in to visit, you feel obligated to talk to them. You don't with a dog. You know, it's okay to be quiet with the dog and just pet the dog.
You're talking about yours being a rescue dog. My little pumpkin is a teddy bear Pouchon, and he had been surrendered by his breeder to a veterinarian service. There was 4 of them in the litter they had parvo, and they had gotten all 4 of them better. And my little teddy bear, my little Bichon, was very, very sick, and I had to have him put down after 12 years, and my heart was broken. And she said, just a minute, I don't normally do this, but let me show you something. And she brought Pumpkin in there with one of the other little ones, and she said they were surrendered, they were teddy bear Pouchons, they have had their shots, they've had parvo, they can never have it again, they're better. And she said, if you would like to have one, I'll let you have it, you know, relatively cheap. So my sister was there with me to comfort me when I had to do my duty. And I reached down and picked Pumpkin up, and he laid right down on my lap just like Benji did. And my sister looked at me like, oh my gosh, if a spirit could leave one dog and go in another one, I think it just did. So I was heartbroken. I said, let me think about it a little bit. After about 3 or 4 days of a very quiet house, no movement in the house, very quiet, nobody to greet you at the door, I called back and I said, well, if he's still mine, start calling him Pumpkin, because he was a little orangey color, and it was October. So that's where I meant to be. That's where I've got Pumpkin.
This one went into the Greenville shelter. I don't know how she got there, but she was pregnant, and she had 8 puppies. And that's a no-kill shelter, so those were 9 dogs they had to place. And she's been a sweetheart.
And how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for about 6 years. There was a class at Johnston Memorial Hospital right after it became part of Mountain States, and we got in the first class.
You do this for self-gratification, just as volunteer work?
Well, I'm retired, so I have the time. I was a physician in my other life, so the hospital's very comfortable for me. The interesting thing is you not only train the dogs in this program, you train the handlers. Every dog can't be a therapy dog, and every person can't be a handler.
True.
And people branch out to different places because a lot of folks are not comfortable in a hospital setting. So we have a program called Tail Wagging Tutors, and we go to the schools and the children read to the dogs. Now, children that are having trouble reading are intimidated by their peers and by their teachers, but they're not intimidated by the dogs. And you'll think that when you go into a classroom, you think, well, these children are just going to want to pet the dogs and do nothing else. they'll pet the dogs and then say, "Can I read now?" And so we're trying to encourage them to read. And along that line, the Highlands Educational Literacy Program in Washington County gives each of them a book to take home and takes pictures of all the dogs and puts it on a bookmark. So each child that reads that day goes home with a book and a bookmark.
Oh, that is
And they
so
remember it.
neat. That is so
They
neat.
remember it.
That's an awesome way to teach. Yes. So
It's fun.
yeah. Do you want to tell the general public how, if they think they may want to get certified as a handler or a trainer, or as a handler or a training dog for the website or something?
For the pet therapy dogs, these dogs are certified under Therapy Dog International, and you just go to the website. It gives you a link to what the testing requirements are, and also gives you a link as to where the evaluators are, so you contact the evaluators directly. There's another organization called Alliance of Therapy Dogs, and there are some evaluators for that in this area. But you just do it and take the big step, and right now there are 3 classes starting in the Tri-Cities. One in Bristol starts Thursday evening, and one in Kingsport at Holston Valley starts next Monday. So there's some opportunities, and then probably these will run into late October, and then it'll probably be spring before there'll be any more formal classes.
Well, God bless you, and thank you for donating your time and your energy and your soothing comfort to the community.
Well, thank you for wanting to know about it. We're glad to brag on them and encourage folks to join us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rosalie Gilchrist here in the Commercial Exhibit Building, finding all kinds of interesting people to talk to at the Russell County Fair. Still a Veterans Day at the Russell County Fair. Rosalie Gilchrist, along with State Delegate Glenn Davis, who will be running for Lieutenant Governor in 2017. Welcome to the Russell County Fair.
Rosalie, I'm glad to be here. This has been a great time.
And what were you saying about getting this side of Roanoke?
Oh, I tell you, whenever you get west of Roanoke and you see those mountains coming in, your blood pressure drops, just the beauty, everything calms. It's a great place to live, and obviously you know that.
I moved to Texas for a couple of years, and I kept saying, "Y'all got such beautiful sunsets. You have such beautiful sunsets." And they said, they'll call me Roses. They said, "Roses? That's because you got the mountains. You never did see the sun all the way to the horizon."
Well, I'm from Virginia Beach, and we have a gorgeous beach over there, but I can't see it from miles away like you can see these mountains as you're driving in. So it's great to be here.
Right. And is the storm affecting your area right now?
It has, not as bad as they anticipated, but we took quite a bit of wind and some wind damage around that area, but a lot less than they anticipated.
Okay. Let's get some of the delegates' opinions. What is your position on illegal immigration, and what solutions would you propose?
Well, illegal immigration obviously is a problem for our country, and we need to make sure that people are allowed to come here like many of our great-grandfathers and grandmothers, but they have to do it legally.
The melting pot, the old melting pot.
Exactly. You know, we all started someplace, but we came here through legal means. My great-grandfather came over from Italy back in the early 1900s, and I think we need to be able to maintain the ability for people to come through, but do it through legal manners, and be able to know who is in the country today. Obviously, that's a big thing for national security.
Well, my great-great-great-grandfather was Jacob Castle, the man that settled Castle's Woods, and you're in Castlewood right now.
Well, I see you've got quite the legacy here.
And what's your position on the EPA, and specify the regulations that on the coal industry?
Sure. Well, the EPA has had so much governmental overreach, it's not funny. Obviously, the impact on the coal industry has been tremendous and taken a huge toll on Russell County. And you look at other things that the EPA has jumped on as well, and many of which has hit the eastern side of the state where I'm from. And I think we need to push back on the EPA and the federal government overreach. Sometimes regulations can be helpful, but I think they've gone way too far with this administration, and right now Virginia needs to push back and put our people back to work, get the coal industry booming again. I think there's a number of ways to do it, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing as the next lieutenant governor. For me, it's all about creating jobs and growing the economy, and you don't do it in just one place of Virginia. You have to do it across Virginia, which is why we're traveling throughout the Commonwealth, and here it means putting our people back to work and getting that coal industry growing again.
Well, here we have a tremendous amount of people out of work because of the coal industry. I mean, it trickles the trickle-down effect. The coal trucks, the supply houses for the coal mines, and the whole 9 yards. More like the Niagara Falls, Ernie says.
It is, and you know, the coal industry hurting here can be felt as you go west. You go to Giles County, which is a big manufacturing area, and the manufacturing there has fallen because of the coal industry being hit out here. You go out towards the port on the east coast of Virginia, where I'm from, and that's where the coal ships out from over there. And so it's had that huge trickle effect, and getting the coal industry booming again will be that rising tide that lifts all ships, and that's why I'm so committed to making sure that we do that in 2017 as we run for lieutenant governor and with the rest of the ticket, because you really do have to get all parts of Virginia growing again.
You do. I was at the True Point Bank in St. Paul the other day, and of course, if people live around here know the railroad track runs behind the bank. There was a Canadian engine on the tracks.
There was a
Canadian engine on the tracks.
Really? That's, you know, and that's the issue that we've got is we should be able to produce all this stuff locally. We should be able to grow those economies, and we shouldn't have to worry about having, you know, have things imported from other areas. And there's so much exportability, as you know.
Yes, but I mean, seeing a Canadian engine here was a rarity for me. It's the first time I'd ever seen that. Okay, what position do you take on the health care, the Obamacare, and what can be done to improve the health care in our community?
Well, I think Obamacare will go down probably as one of the worst policies I think our nation has seen. Obviously, at the federal government level, we can only do so much right now. If we have a changeover in administrations, obviously after, as we go into next year, maybe we can change some things up in D.C. But what's important right now is to be able to deal with the cards we've been dealt and make sure that we can continue to grow the economy. Small businesses are hurting because of Obamacare. The insurance rates have gone through the roof. And honestly, a lot of people can't afford to even carry insurance anymore, which puts them on significant risk from just economically, because if they have that one significant medical issue, it could bankrupt them.
Well, I have Obamacare because that's all I could afford as a single woman. And I keep it specifically for catastrophic instances. I don't go to the doctor unless, you know, I absolutely have to, because I have a huge deductible. So unless I have a major catastrophe or a surgery or something like that, I'm not going to meet my deductible, but I pay out that premium every month. And also going over, if you have some sort of side job and you earn a little bit more than what you declared, then you do got to pay back.
Right. And that's the problem with Obamacare. People thought it was going to give real medical care for real individuals, and it doesn't. Like you said, it's catastrophic. So for those of us, if you go, you get sick, you get the flu, maybe you break a bone, those things, it really doesn't help you because the deductible is so high. Most people on Obamacare can't afford those deductibles. So it really is just for catastrophic situations, which that already existed before.
That's what I consider it, for me, catastrophic, because, you know, if something were to happen and had huge hospital bills, they'd take my house.
Yes, ma'am. And that's what people are seeing all around the country, not just in Virginia. It did not end up being what the president, threw it out there, and I think many of us knew that wasn't going to be the case. So we've really got to get out there and change this and get things back to true market competition for health insurance.
Well, I had to do it because it's all that I could afford. I was out there. I did it under rebellion. Do you consider it a hidden tax?
Well, when you're forced to do anything, it's a hidden tax. And so when you're forced to get on Obamacare or pay a penalty, to me that sounds like a tax.
Me too. Let's see. What is your position on religious freedom, freedom of speech, and the recent development of restricted speech on college campuses?
Well, I'm religious freedom. I think everyone should be able to practice their religions. I'm Catholic, and obviously I believe certain things that maybe other religions may not, and I think that our country was founded on religious freedom, so I think that needs to be protected. Freedom of speech, I think that's very important. Obviously, it's the first thing that, as they put together the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all, that First Amendment that, you have the freedom to speak your mind. But people need to remember that goes both ways. It doesn't just go when you're agreeing with someone on the liberal side of the house. It also goes when you're, putting something out there that you deem as important that sounds more conservative, as many of us do. So I think that's the big thing with the First Amendment, is we have to remember that it does protect us regardless of what you say, not just if it's politically correct.
Well, I think what I've heard in the news in the past, say, year, there's children at school are being censored and can't talk about God or can't have a prayer before, but the atheist or the other quote-unquote religions can do whatever they want. To me, that's prejudice against mine.
Oh, and same here. I mean, you and I grew up in school. We said the Pledge of Allegiance, which mentions God. We had a moment of silence to pray. I was on local city government, city council for 5 years, and before every meeting we started with a prayer, and we started in the House of Delegates with a prayer. Now, I firmly believe in God and Jesus, and that's how I was raised, and I have a lot of personal reasons why I do. But I think all of us can agree that we don't always have the right answers. We don't know everything. Goodness knows sometimes we're faced with challenges where we could use that little extra help and insight and someone watching over us. So why anyone would think that we don't need prayer is beyond me. And to force it out of a school or force it out of a legislative body or force it out of our life is, I think, really sets us backwards.
It's prejudice against me.
Yes, ma'am. There's certain things I don't think we should undertake without praying first, and I think we should be given that right to do so.
I agree. What major effect do you believe that, can't read my own writing. Can you read that? What major effect do you believe that you can have on Virginia? Yes, and specify Southwest Virginia.
Sure. Well, I'm running to unleash Virginia. What I've seen traveling over 15,000 miles on RV around Virginia and being down here now a couple of times in Russell County is Virginians are just they're pent up. They're ready to burst at the seams to create opportunities for themselves. But so much government regulations and tax burden has been put on them, and you see that here in Russell County with the coal issues and what the federal government's done and what the state now has done with our governor. If we just take these burdens off of them and we unleash the potential of the state, including out here with our coal industry, I think we'll see Virginia become #1 again for business and job growth like we used to be back in 2011. We were the best state in business back then. Now we're 13th. We have the 30th worst tax policies, and our economy is suffering. I think if we take some time and we realize that every part of the state isn't the same as others. Russell County isn't like Virginia Beach, and Virginia Beach is like Northern Virginia. And if you realize that economic development means something different for everyone, and you let the economic development monies and enrichment be used by all the localities the way it best fits them, I think we're going to see a Virginia that no other states can be able to keep up with. And that's what I want to do as the next Lieutenant Governor. My issue isn't just to go out there and grow jobs in an area. To truly grow our Virginia economy, it has to grow all over, and that means understanding the unique differences of every part of our Commonwealth, especially those out here in Southwest Virginia.
Square peg in a round hole.
Ma'am, I say that so often. It's exactly it. In Richmond, sometimes they think every place is the same, and it truly is that we're square peg, round hole, and no matter how big the hammer is, it doesn't fit.
Thank you so much for talking with us.
I enjoyed my time. I look forward to getting out there with the Demolition Derby here soon. So,
thank you. I think they're doing lawnmower race very shortly.
I heard. This is going to be a lot of fun today.
Once again, tell us your name and what you're running for.
Sure. My name is Glenn Davis. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor in 2017, and I hope to earn everyone's endorsement and support as time goes on.
Is there a website or anything that for you now?
Yes, ma'am. It's davis4lg.com, and you can go there. You can learn more about our issues, but more importantly, we've got our phone number and our email address, and please contact us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.